Osiris.
We're mass communicating. Mass communicating. Mass communicating.
Welcome back to Touchdowns All Day. I am your host, Max Dawson. And with me today, your co-host, John Barber.
What's up, everybody?
How does it feel to be back home after a month on the road?
On the last podcast, you were telling the fans that we did 5 days, then 2 days, then 5 days.
Yes.
And yeah, that was legit right there. That was legit 12-day run.
How did you feel after that? Because that's a pretty intense run when you're 24 years old, let alone when you're our age.
Well, I mean, it's easier at my age right now because I think that like there's less. It's a much more stable, it's a much more professional run.
Yeah.
You know, it's back in the day. It was like 3 days, 2 of them, you're up all night partying.
Yeah.
You know, we're making music, so there's like a little bit of like a healing process that goes into it. And if I can get 8 or 9 hours of sleep every day, then I can do. It's literally we're on every minute that we're not sleeping. Like we wake up.
Yeah.
And we're either traveling to the venue or rehearsing the shows or playing the shows or traveling to the next venue. And then in the studio, it's actually a little bit easier because we went to this great studio in Massachusetts that has just incredible equipment, great guys, and a house attached to the studio where everybody just got a room. So we just hung out. It was really easy. They cooked food. It was just awesome. It was like almost like it was what I would imagine like a Red Hot Chili Peppers type studio experience. It would be like full band, full drums, loud bass, you know, like a real large room, not like a sound treated room, but just like a huge room filled with great microphones. That sounds great, even though it kind of looks like a warehouse or something like that. And we played take after take of a lot of songs. We did 5 songs. I expected to do 2 songs in 2 days.
Yeah.
But the other guys in the band really wanted to do some other stuff. They didn't want to play the songs over and over and over again. And after like the 4th or 5th take, I kind of started to agree with them. I was like, okay, I think we're good here. And we moved on and did some other takes of some different stuff. So I'll be working when I get back from vacation. I'll be working on those. And hopefully we'll have a Biscuit album shipping. I don't know how long it takes from here, but it's going to be a little bit of time. But it sounds so awesome already.
Yeah.
That I'm considering just adding vocals and shipping the thing. We could spend all year on it, like tweaking this and tweaking that, but I like what we got. We were playing mid-tour. We've been playing awesome, and everybody played. There wasn't a sloppy note in the whole group. It was very easy to get a good take on each song, because we played them all yesterday on stage or the day before.
Do you want to run down the list of songs that you worked on?
I don't know. I don't think I do. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know if I want to let that cat out of the bag right now. I'm not sure what to do about
Totally
that. Maybe
cool.
we should. Maybe we should. I don't know.
All right. Well, at the very least, you're working on the songs, you're doing the rehearsal and the arranging on stage, then you go into the studio and you play through the songs, so you're ready to do it. But then you go back out on stage immediately and you pick up where you left off, and there's like no interruption. And you could really feel in the shows that sense of momentum. There were no breaks. You could get distracted. You could lose your groove. Any number of things can happen in days off apart from resting and recuperating, but you guys really kept that momentum going through that entire 12-day period with a huge, strong finish in Buffalo, 2 monstrous shows. But you've got to feel really proud after that tour, 18 shows plus the 12-day straight run. It must feel really good to have that behind you.
Yeah, I feel like it was great. I feel like the band's still getting better every week. We're on to all different things to get better on now than we were on 6 months ago. And I feel like Penn's Peak was a kind of show that I think everybody listening to the podcast should go listen to Penn's Peak, because that was like, we kind of had the right vibe to introduce some of the new concepts that we're introducing. And we got an excellent It's more of a vibey show. It was less of a like a jazz fusion-y type of thing, and it was more of a vibe show. And I think that's kind of a sound that I hope that we can harness and, take to like high levels of energy in the future.
Yeah. So you mentioned some new stuff that you're working on now. Since we last spoke, you debuted a couple of Disco Biscuits renditions of the Tractor Beam renditions of Disco Biscuits songs. So the Falling 303 and the Times Square Girls mashups. How'd those go?
I love doing those. I really like doing that stuff. It's new. It's very clubby. It's very dancey. And, I just really like this space that we're in where we're taking our own stuff, remixing it with different perspectives, kind of letting people have like creative, like Aron had real creative moments with the Falling 303 especially. And even the girls remix he made as well. And then we take it back to the band and then we kind of redo it in a way that's different. It just ends up to be different. I just think it's cool. It's very creative and it keeps things. I don't like when we do something once and then we never do it again. I really don't like that. And I think the solution to that is to play it in different ways just to keep people like kind of on their creative game,
Yeah. You also worked Mark's new song or new transformation of the Champions' Sirens Sing into the rotation.
Yeah, what a great song he wrote there. It's a beautiful song. I really like it. I was singing it the whole tour. And the question was, like when to drop in, how to squeeze it in, because it was really the kind of vibe that our set needed also. So Mark just kind of came through and knocked one out of the park. I mean, we haven't had that type of jam band moment put into the set in a minute. Yeah. And people love that. I mean, I love playing those type of songs and people love, dancing to them, and it sets a good tone for the room. And the song just was like a smash right out from day one. So I'm really happy about that one. I really think that, people are saying it's a Champions rework and stuff like that. But I just look at it as a whole nother song from scratch, really. I don't think of it as like he added a part to Champions. I think that the Champions part got him to the finish line when he had like a really, truly emotional moment on his ukulele, of all things. Yeah. And, he's just being an artist. He had a ukulele around and he turned it into something really cool. I'm a big fan of that song. Whatever you guys want to call it, I'm a fan of it.
Yes. Well, you also did something you've never done before. You split Freeze. You did the Freeze Air song Freeze up in Vermont. People were waiting for a very long time to see where that Freeze jam went, and you did not disappoint when you finally decided to break the Freeze open.
Great. Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't done that yet, honestly. I mean, that's just such an easy one to break open. I'm just really shocked we haven't broken it open yet. Well,
it's cool because the longer you made us wait, the more anticipation there was, and it really hit really hard with that. We'll get a chance to review some of these moments, and in particular, some of the ones we just talked about, which all made my list of the best jams of the fall, if not of the year. Speaking of John, we're in December. It is time for us to do version 2 of the Touchdowns All Day annual Disco Biscuits year in review poll. I'm getting ready to launch it. By the time this podcast drops, the poll will already be out there in the wild. We have categories for Jam of the Year, Song of the Year, and Show of the Year. We're doing things a little bit differently this year. Instead of narrowing down the shows into a short list, I'm just letting people pick anything. We got a drop down menu. You can pick whatever show you want, because last year people picked so many different shows. There was such a diversity of opinions when it came to Show of the Year that I wanted to let people really have the full range of choices. Plus, I mean, like, put a gun to my head, I could not pick 10 shows from this year. Making a short list would have been impossible. But we do. The Touchdowns All Day Advisory Committee, my group of learned scholars, helped me narrow down Song of the Year. The bureaucracy, yes. The Disco Biscuits Deep State helped me narrow down for Disco Biscuits Song of the Year and Jam of the Year. Would you like to hear the nominees for Song of the Year?
Was Firewall Exchange this year?
Well, it doesn't have to be a debut.
No, it's
but
last year, right? Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a new debut, but Fire Will Exchange was the unanimous choice.
There's no freshman song of the year type of award.
It really would make sense to do a new song and an old song. So we'll basically just look at how the results shake out, because of the new songs, we've got Doorbell, Dino Baby, and Fire Will Exchange. They have to be on that list. I mean, those three songs, yes, they debuted at the end of last year, but they really are the songs of 2024, if you ask me.
Well, they can't be the songs of 2023. We basically were done with 2023 when we played them. Fire Will Exchange was definitely debuted. You know, if you wanted to be like a robot, you would be like, that was debuted in 2024 because it was after midnight, I think. And so like that's 2024. The other two, I guess you could put in 2023. But the version of Dino Baby we played in 2023, that original vocal chorus version, that's not the song we play anymore. That's a totally different song. One of our fans was talking to me at the VIP, and she was like, you know, you could play both versions of Dino Baby and I would be happy. And I was just like, really? Is that an option? So
Dino Baby, inverted Dino Baby back into Dino Baby.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
There you go.
I mean, it would be fun for the fans to like have two songs with the same name and just let's see how they decide which one's which, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's definitely 2024. And Doorbell, I guess, is, I mean, it's hard to leave Doorbell out of 2024 because really the only song that sat in the second set, like cleanup position in the big festivals where there's thousands of people that you don't know and you want to play something that's really going to win them over. Doorbell was that song all summer long. So it's hard to, I think they're in for 2024.
And then, of course, there's the new baby, Country Royale, which, despite having only been played 10 times so far this year, you can't talk about 2024 without talking about Country Royale.
I know. It's crazy how much that's resonated with people. I really appreciate all the listening that everybody's doing. Like people just must be putting like putting it on loop and just leaving it on all afternoon. I mean, the numbers are outrageous.
Yeah.
And I just think that's crazy. So I enjoy that. I mean, I guess we have like a little bit of like a jam band hit on our hands, which is very fun. It's very fun to have.
And then a couple of classics that had a real resurgence this year. Confrontation, which pretty much showed up anytime there was a big night, anytime there was a big festival. The new arrangement of Confrontation never failed to deliver.
Yeah, the Aspen version of Confrontation with the heavy arpeggiators, but the keeping of the old harmony structure of like a Grateful Dead jam was a really interesting twist. Techno plus Grateful Dead plus Confrontation was a really interesting twist that resonated well with the fans. And it filled that spot that we later filled with Siren Song, which is this kind of like very airy, warm, like light your heart up type of happy vibe that contrasts very well with like the Fire Will Exchanges of the set.
Yeah. Shadow got a nod.
Yeah, I saw somebody say that their favorite. I saw a tweet that somebody was saying their favorite song that we brought back from the old songs is Shadow. So that's cool.
Dribble was also, and when is Dribble not, a heavy hitter. Uh, 10 times played and delivered set-defining performances almost every time it showed up. And then the other old one that made this list, and I strongly advocated for this, was Shemrabu. Every time Shemrabu was played this year, it was one of the things that people walked out of the show talking about, including what I want to play for you at the end of the episode today, the Shemrabu that you guys played at a Fire Will Exchange up in Rome, New York on November 22nd.
Wait, I mean, look, Shemrabu was one of our first hits. Yeah. You know, as far as jam band hits go, it was one of the first songs that we played that, you know, when we were playing Gathering of the Vibes in 1999 with Deep and Anna Blackout and Mo, Shemrabu was one of our, you know, you couldn't drop Magellan in that scene because it was too thoughtful and long and just esoteric for the audience who just wants to party. Shemrabu was that song. But we shelved it for a while. We brought it back. We spent a lot of time doing the vocals over and over again and really tightening that part of the song up. And then when we brought it back out, which I guess, I forget where we brought it back. Was it Chicago or was it Mishawaka or it was somewhere in there, I feel like.
Well, this year you did a great Shemra in Boulder. And then another great one in Silver Spring. You only played it 6 times this year, but each time you played it, it had a big impact.
Yeah, it was the second half of the year song. It was a rotate in. We rotated out some stuff. We rotated in Shemra, and the song still goes well. It's just such a funky tune. It's a slap-based song. We don't have a lot of those. Not a lot of bands have a lot of those anymore. So it has a very unique thing going on, and I was psyched about it. We played it great this year.
And the last nominee for Song of the Year from Revolution in Motion, To Be Continued.
So I'm talking to this girl yesterday, and she's like, oh, well, you know, like, I've never heard of your band, but she, like, knows me through my wife and stuff like that. And she's like, well, you know, like, what do you guys, like, what's your music like? And I was like, I don't know, just go on YouTube or Spotify and listen to it. It's no big deal. Listen. And I was like, listen to the Revolution in Motion album. And she was like, well, okay, well, what song do I listen to? Like she only has time for one song. So I was like, I don't know how to answer this question, because they're all so different. So I gave her like the rundown. I was like, Twisted was cool for a minute, and then The Deal kind of took over, but then Taurus was a really great recording, and I went through all the songs, and then after I'd gotten through them all, I was like, oh yeah, and People Love To Be Continued. That's like the song. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be an exciting poll this year to see the results. We've got a very long list of jams of the year. I'll direct everyone to the Touchdowns All Day social media accounts, where you'll find links where you can put your vote in for the poll. Let your voice be heard. We've got 14 Jam of the Year nominees. I think we've got like 9 or 10 of these Song of the Year nominees. And again, you could vote for any show for Show of the Year. And I will hopefully, if all goes according to plan, be counting down those results with Brownstein at the last episode of 2024. So we look at 2025, head into the New Year's run. We'll give you, John, and the rest of the band lots of data about what the fans absolutely loved as you guys head into 2025. And I think that the poll was really great last year. I think that it, people picked the By the Time Buddha as the jam of the year. And of course, immediately afterwards, that became our Song of the Year nominee for 2024, Ring the Doorbell Twice. So who knows, maybe one of the winners this year will show up next year in a new form and give new life to a whole new aspect of the band's playing.
Well, it's interesting because I was just thinking today, I was like, we just played a lot of shows and we haven't, like Joey and I usually sit down before any of this stuff gets written and we just go through the jam moments and organize them and put them in a list of which ones we should work on first. And, he's got his opinion of the ones and then I listen to them and decide which ones I think I really resonate with me. And then we just kind of like sort them. Trapdoor came out of that process. Another Spin came out of that. I mean, so many songs came out of that process. Yeah. So I don't know exactly when we're going to do that again. Probably New Year's. We'll probably do that with the 2024 stuff. So we will know the winners of all these polls.
Yeah.
And those jams are definitely going to get entered into the new songwriting batch of jam starters for 2025. Yeah. So it's a legitimate thing and it is going to happen.
Well, here's another cool thing that we're doing, John. I'm working with our friends over at 1111. We're going to post a playlist on the Disco Biscuits official SoundCloud account containing all of the Jam of the Year nominees. That's 14 different jams. That's from January 25th at Crystal Bay Casino, the Why We Dance that started this whole year out, which was nominated. That includes The Monster from San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes all the way through the Firewheel Exchange, Shemrabu from the 22nd of November at the Capitol Theater in Rome. So we've got a long list of jams. You and Joey don't even need to do any work. They're going to be up on the SoundCloud. We will share the link through the Touchdowns All Day social accounts so everyone can listen to those jams before they vote. And they could say, maybe you're a running into the night voices guy from Penn's Peak, but your friend is a doorbell reactor from Houston person. You could fight it out. I might be a Sister Judy's from Portland up in Maine on the 15th of March person. We've got all these great jams. We excerpted them and then you can listen to them and put them on shuffle, take them out when you're going on a hike or whatever, assimilate them all into your brain and then spit out some new songs for us next year.
That sounds like an awesome idea. I mean, I really think this is a TV show waiting to happen. They have the Grammys and then they did the Jammies. We won a couple Jammies. I saw a picture of that randomly. But then they stopped doing the Jammies because they couldn't use the word jammy because it's too close to Grammy, I guess. But I think we should do like a Disco Biscuit show about what we're talking about right now. Like, I don't know what it would look like. Maybe 2025 we'll plan it, but it's definitely, we could have these like a live stream where people are interacting with us and choosing the best jam of the year and all this fun stuff.
Can we get tuxedos?
I don't know what we would wear. That's a good question. If we can figure out what it looks like, we could shoot it in a day. You know what I mean? Like nobody's like, well, I think that Mark Summers' Double Dare looked better than this. So, like nobody cares. I
think we get Cornered 12 to dye us to do dyed tuxedos. And we'll have presenters.
Like
we'll
a
have
hat or something.
The whole thing. Yeah. Amazing. Well,
why not?
John, after tour ended, you had Thanksgiving, holidays, college football season is full swing. You're tweeting up a storm about the
I'm losing
playoffs.
Followers. Every time I tweet about college football, I lose followers.
And I'm getting
I don't know what to do.
DMs from sports podcasting networks asking us, are you guys a sports podcast? Would you like to be a part of our network? And I'm like, I don't think you're listening to our show if you're asking us
we should join their network though,
Yeah, why not? So John, Thanksgiving, how is Thanksgiving? Are you a traditional turkey and sides sort of guy? Do you mix things up? Do you cook? Does Lisa cook? Does your mom cook? How did you do Thanksgiving this year?
My sister and her husband, they love to cook. He's an unbelievable cook. He's got a real talent and she's very good as well. The two of them are great. So they we go to their house. They have 3 kids. They have the most infrastructure for this kind of thing. So I'm sure me and Lisa will get the Thanksgiving at some point, but right now she's got it with her husband. He's got these incredible meat dishes that he cooks every year. This year was lamb and turkey and chicken, so you can compare them, I guess. I don't know what that was all about. And then we did, Lisa made 2 kinds of stuffing. kind of like an Italian stuffing and then a vegetarian stuffing. And then my mom and my brother make like something and they bring that over. And then that's how we do it. It's pretty cool.
And lots of football.
We play football. Yeah, we have a game that we play. River plays a little bit, but it's really me and my nephews and my niece that we play touch football every single year for like the past like 6 years. We play. River scored like 3 touchdowns this year.
Damn.
He was good. He played great. He's great on defense. He just chases the quarterback the whole time. And we all play football together and we play out in the yard. It's great. And I made 2 diving catches. And I didn't end up in a hospital, which I was psyched about.
Well, that's a win right there.
Yeah. Let's see Jerry Garcia do that. All right. So, yeah, it was great. I love Thanksgiving. What about you? What was your Thanksgiving?
I hosted. I did all the cooking myself, 3 days in the kitchen. I'm such a control freak. I have to do everything myself, as is with the case with this podcast.
Yeah.
But I loved it. Avery's family came, had some Survivor friends, some neighborhood friends. It was a good time. A good time was had by all. Ate way too much, and now just getting ready to close out the year, get myself all situated so I could get to the East Coast for those 4 nights in Silver Spring and Philadelphia. We got a big holiday run to close out the year. But John, one last thing before we get to the jams. Mm-hmm. You guys played the acoustic shows. I got so excited about those acoustic shows that I put together the Touchdowns All Day Thanksgiving acoustic special. Did you have a chance to listen to that episode?
Yeah,
I apologize. It was one of those things where I was like, John's probably going to hate the fact that I found all of these weird, horribly recorded moments, including John playing with a clown accompanying him on djembe, at 4 a.m. out in somebody's backyard. But a lot of memory laning on that episode to get everybody in the right mindset for the Barber and Magner mostly acoustic duo shows at Iridium.
Well, it's interesting because before I got a chance to listen to that podcast, and that podcast, it is hard for me to listen to that, like that old stuff where I know it's like after the show and I've like been hanging out drinking too many beers and then they put me on acoustic and make me do it and then they record it and 30 years later they're still playing it for me. So I hear that stuff and I'm like, man, but I like think of the moment of like, I can think of my notebook that I was reading and I was like, oh, I remember that notebook and all the songs. I remembered I had a couple songs. I had a song in that notebook called The Truth, which I still sing today, but I don't know where it is and I don't know what happened to it. I don't know where that song is. I think it would be a great Biscuit song if we could find it. And so, I had gotten a lot of feedback from people that they really liked the episode before that I listened to it. So by the time I got around to listen to it, I was like, well, people like this, like I might want my music to be translated at a higher level of fidelity and sound quality than those tapes have, but still, and we're in the studio right now. We're making what I think is going to be the best sounding, best Disco Biscuit album ever right now. But the people who came up to me at the acoustic shows who really liked the last episode of the podcast, they're real fans and they never heard the Mel stock and they always wanted to. And the part that Magner did was fantastic. And people, I didn't even know that Magner had put that on YouTube. So I didn't even know about that either. So the podcast is doing its job of like telling, even me, I'm learning things about Aron that I didn't even know. There's so much to be communicated in this scene. So I just view it as a really good thing.
Well, it was great for me to go back and hear you. You were mentioning some of those notebook songs, Calliope, Music for My Soul. Remember those?
Yeah, Music for My Soul was a song. Yeah, I should find that. I have those tapes still.
Yeah.
So I just I need to get the little tape player to listen to them. I haven't found I found the tapes, but I didn't find the tape player, so I got to find it.
Well, we'll find the tape player. If you've got the tapes, we'll figure the rest out for you. Poncho the Cat. Yeah. I got an Ida Fifth in there, and I sent you and Magner a text a few days before the show. I was like, I never do this, but play Ida Fifth. You got to play Ida Fifth again. That's a great tune.
It's funny, I thought you were sending that to me as like a team effort with other people that were also sending that song to me, one notably Brownstein.
Oh. He was saying that too?
Yeah, Brownstein sent it to me as well. I was like, when are you gonna do this song, brother? And
I did not coordinate.
I thought you might have. So it's interesting. So it's a beautiful, beautiful song. That's the song that it's really done. It's very finished, and it could really work in a now setting. Even Poncho and the Cat could work in the now setting, but that was just like a fun song I wrote when I was a kid. Because I thought I lived with a cat named Poncho, and I was just kind of making fun of the cat while I was playing guitar one afternoon. It turned into that song.
Well, the shows at Iridium seem to have gone over really well. I've only seen overwhelmingly positive responses. How did it feel up there on stage?
Oh, we killed it. I really loved it. It was awesome. It's a new band. I mean, we just made a new band, and the songs that band has are all awesome. I mean, all of those Biscuit songs translate incredible to a no-uns type of environment. Like, the chords are beautiful. The melodies are beautiful. We play them really well. The other great thing about this acoustic band, if you think about it as a side project for us, is that it's literally just going to make the Biscuits great. Everything about it is just it just adds to a better Disco Biscuit. It generates a better Disco Biscuit experience. Aron and I were working on little vocal details before the shows that are going to translate immediately to stage with the Biscuits. And I just thought that was awesome. Everything about it was great. It's very jammy. And it's super cool. I mean, we had a great couple of shows, so I'm into it. Paul Reed Smith gave me a guitar, and I loved playing it. I was just like, wow, this is really. I've had acoustics before, but I really like the way this one plays. It has a very playable feeling to it. And then I'm playing it through my Disco Biscuit stage rig, which is interesting because all my guitar synths are there, and all of my other effects are there. My arpeggios are there. Right? So I can turn on Disco Biscuit. I didn't really do it very much because I was kind of, new to this whole thing. But there's that act can go in a lot of different directions and can be very, very cool. But at the bottom line, the end of the day, that act is just Aron and I just honing our skills for the most optimum Disco Biscuit experience. So it really feels like a win, where like a lot of times some people are like, hey, let's do a side project and play like Grateful Dead songs or something. And I usually just say no to that because like I'm not in the Grateful Dead, so it doesn't I don't really want to learn like all these different songs when I could be like in the studio with Joey, like pumping out another spin or something like that. So yeah. I'm always balancing this stuff and balancing how to make all these things work. I feel like Baba G is a really good opportunity for me to play the songs that I make in the studio, like the techno doorbell and the wormhole, the techno wormhole, that the demo of Wormhole is, it's just as good as the band's version. I mean, it's so cool. And we just made that in the studio one day, and I want to be able to play those songs for people. So that's where Baba G really has a positive effect for me. And I thought that was going to be like the pinnacle of side project positive effect. But this acoustic show, I walked away from those two shows being like, wow, like we should go back on tour with the Biscuits because we have really... I think we really improved the Biscuits experience a lot in those two shows. I mean, there was like 3 weeks of rehearsal leading up to them too. So yeah, there was a lot in there. And I think the January Biscuit run is going to be massive because of some of the changes that we made because of the acoustic show, which is awesome.
Yeah.
For instance, the Warfield show. I really want to talk about the Warfield show.
Let's talk about it.
Well, I don't know if the fan base knows this, but we've been slated to play the Warfield like 4 other times in our career, and it's never happened because of all sorts of insane reasons.
I didn't know that. What's the story? How far does this tale go back?
We really have to. I'm not sure why we didn't play the Warfield. I feel like one time aliens came down to Earth, and another time
froze Times Square. Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know why. Every time the Warfield was on the schedule, we ended up doing something else.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. One time we got I think the snow lasers happened. We were going to go to the Warfield, and then we got the Red Rocks show, and then we ended up doing snow lasers, and we just prioritized Red Rocks, because we were having trouble playing Red Rocks. It's a huge venue, and you got to take your shot there when you get it. And so we had this thing where we were like, well, we can go play San Francisco, and then we would go back and play San Francisco, but we would end up playing somewhere else besides the Warfield. And so I've always been like, great, we're going to play the Warfield. Okay, no, not this time. Great, we're going to play the Warfield. Okay, no, we're going to this other place instead. We're going to Fillmore instead, or we're going to LA instead. And now we were supposed to play the Fillmore, and then by some other weird roll of the dice, now we are at the Warfield. Because the Fillmore has to close that night. So they're like, why don't you guys go play the Warfield? So I'm like, oh, well, it's happening. It's just like this era of the Disco Biscuits is like those kind of good luck things happen to us now. And it feels great.
As opposed to all the bad luck that always used to set you.
We used to crash cars and fall through ceilings and do all this crazy stuff. So now it's like, hey, so to me, I'm looking at this Warfield gig as I liked what we did at Penn's Peak because it was very vibey. And I really want to bring that type of vibey super dance party to the Warfield in San Fran because it's been a long time. And I feel like we finally got our shot at that venue. I'm really excited about it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Warfield was the location of those famous Grateful Dead shows in 1980 where they did the acoustic sets first and then came out and played a full Dead show. So maybe we just plant the seed that you and Magner or even all four of you guys come out with your acoustics, play 3 songs before set 1, and then, a little tip of the hat to the storied history of that venue in that town.
That's not true, is it? Is that true?
I think it is.
Oh yeah. God, that would be so sick. That would be so doable and sick. So we'll do something super special like that at the Warfield because I want this one to count. I want this Warfield show to count.
Yeah, it was definitely the Warfield, October 1980. It's where they did those acoustic sets to open the shows. Well, I'm looking at the set lists from those nights, and there are some things in there that are kind of like, yeah, obviously I expected that they would do an acoustic Firewall Exchange because we heard a lot of people send in their acoustic Firewall Exchange covers when we did our fan cover episode. I loved hearing your acoustic flows after we just had the awesome acoustic flows that Jake Howitt sent in a little while ago. Magellan, By the Time lent itself nicely. And then there was some left field stuff. Better in Doses, acoustic Better in Doses might have been one of the biggest revelations of the entire 2 nights.
Good intentions on the road that you pave. You say I'm crazy, then you act insane. This type of spice is never free. The situation's explosive. You know it's been a long time since I've been around here. Did you know this? With a smile, I'm taking better in doses, and you can take it for a ride if you get it in the gear and you know this, and you have for a while. The situation's explosive.
I mean, it's a beautiful song. We changed the lyrics from Vibrations Explosive to Situations Explosive. Situations Explosive were the original lyrics of the song, and we ended up moving it to Vibrations Explosive, and then we put it back because I don't know, we just put it back. Why not? Why not try it the other way and see what happens? And so I like playing that song, but it just hasn't been showing up on set lists at enough of a frequency for me, that especially because it's so new that I need to play it like a bunch more. So this is why the acoustic set is awesome, is we get to put things on the set list that are... I was hoping to play 20 songs a night, though, and we really only played like 10. It was still a biscuit show in a way,
Well, that's the thing. You and Magner without Brownstein, you don't have anyone to keep you on the clock. So
Exactly. It was a lot long.
Then there were some other surprising bust outs. There was Don't Think Twice, It's All Right. How did that come about?
Me and Magner ripped that backstage because I like soloing over songs with a lot of fast moving changes.
Rooster crows at the break of dawn. Look out a window and I'll be gone. Well, don't please don't traveling on, babe. Don't think twice, it's alright. What do you got, John?
And he likes playing it because he loves Brad Meldau, the piano player, and Brad does a version of that song with Chris Tithe, I think it is. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's on an album with Johnny Gur and Yo-Yo Ma, and those guys are the best. And so he's obviously awesome. And they have a version of that song that they do. And we just I don't think I think Chris sings it. I'm not sure who sings it, but we just kind of did a cover of their cover. You know, it's just like that kind of thing where I do that with Hurt, which I do when I play acoustic. I play Hurt, the Johnny Cash version, not the 9 Inch Nails version, you know?
Okay, yeah.
And so it's cover of a cover. I heard a Tom Petty song today, I Won't Back Down, but I heard a cover of it where it really felt like a Bob Dylan song. It was so like the lyrics are great if you put them in that contest. So we might do a cover of a cover like that. Yeah, that's basically if you hear people doing a really good cover of a song, you can just do a cover of their cover. You don't need to like think of your own way to do it sometimes. Sometimes it's just fun to do it the way if somebody figures out a cool way to do it, you know?
Yeah. Well, you also debuted a new song that everyone is very excited about. People are crying over, Johnny.
That's so nuts. Dude, I got more accolades about singing about that song in one day than I think in my entire career. It's so funny, you know?
It's a vocal showcase.
I mean, I'm very proud of the amount of work that we put in. Aron and myself, Joey was a part of that song, and it was just we really put a lot of work into performing that song really well because it is vocally very difficult. And yeah, it worked out. It worked out great. It really hit the fans in the feels, which is, you know, as a musician, you have that ability to hit that gear. But sometimes it doesn't fit. Like it doesn't fit for Metallica. And sometimes it doesn't fit for Disco Biscuits.
Yeah.
And so this was a really great setting to play it. And then, you know, and Aron is Aron was really into like talking me into it. He was like, no, we're definitely not going to not play it. We absolutely have to play it. So it's great. We got another debut in 2024, which I like.
That song is called Postcard. John, would you mind if I played for the Touchdowns All Day audience a recording of Postcard from Iridium on December 4th?
Yeah, go for it.
serious shit.
I see a silhouette in the clouds. What about running the world? We'll get you here tonight before the night is over. Counting streetlights over the crowd, thinking you could be my girl. Wanna get you in my sights, feeling like I'll show ya. What about me? What about this? Elaborate life seems so pointless. Broken silhouette all across the sky. She paints the clouds at midnight. She got her arms spread open wide. Got her arms spread open wide. Send you a postcard. I hope that you're doing alright. Just wishing you were here tonight. Started all over. You'll sleep while I'm holding you tight. Just wishing you were here tonight. Wanna make it every clear, 'cause I'm wishing everything will be alright. Just wishing you were here tonight. Here tonight. Here tonight. See that everybody's taking a side. The problem with running the world, it's got me terrified. Wishing we were closer. I drove around the block 1,000 times. Maybe we could give it a whirl. Gonna get you feeling right before it boils over. What about me? What about this? Elaborate life seems so pointless. Broken, your silhouette all across the sky. She paints the clouds at midnight. She got her arms spread open wide. Got her arms spread open wide. Send you a postcard. I hope that you're doing alright. So I'm wishing you were here tonight. Started all over. You sleep while I'm holding you tight. Just wishing you were here tonight. I wanna make it clear, 'cause I'm hoping everything will be alright. Just wishing you'd here tonight. Here tonight. Here tonight.
John, any background on Postcard? Because it is not only just tonally different, it's got some different sort of harmonies in there. I feel like it sounds very different from the sort of music that you and Joey and Aron and the rest of the guys have been writing lately.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. I mean, we had a fourth member of the writing team for that. We had, so I like was connected through a friend of mine to this other guy who's a songwriter, this guy named Jimmy, and he's, you know, he's just written a musical, I think, and he's just kind of like very, very different as far as the way that he works. And I was very interested in working with him because I think I mentioned on the podcast that we're like going to LA to work with this guy. And then, and he works very different. And I played him all of our stuff. And he was like, you guys are just like, you guys are creative machines. You know, I just play. He's like, you guys are starters is what he called us at one point. Like, you guys can make a song out of anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, great. So why don't we make a song together? And he was like, great, let's make a song together. And it was a little bit of a different process for us. And I really like that. I love songwriting on a different process. You know, like you can do the same process over and over again, but it's kind of like working out. Like you want to work out the muscle groups, but you want to get to them in a different way so that I don't know why that's better, but it just seems better. And we had a night where me and Joey and Aron were sitting around, like just kind of listening to the songs and trying to figure out what it was about. And we had this idea of like a guy who's like running the world, but like can't get the girl that he wants. So it's like you have the one part of your life, everything is like absolutely perfect. And then in the other part of your life, you just, you have this one goal and you cannot achieve it for this one person. You just can't get this one person to be convinced, but it like, and you can't like sell them on the other side of your life, because then you don't know if they really like you. So you have this situation where you're like, can I try and convince you to like me, you know, for every reasons without using any of the reasons that I would use to get you to like me. You know what I mean? Like, how do I convince somebody to like me without telling them any of the good things, you know? And we just had this kind of like writing bonanza where we just wrote verse after verse after verse about that kind of emotional idea of, you know, can you like really want somebody to see a good side of you? Can you get that going in a, you know, just by vibing it? And so the song is very vibey because of that. And I really like a lot of the lyrics. I love the I drove around the block 1,000 times lyric. You know, a silhouette across the sky. The broken line was a freestyle that I was doing in the booth that Jimmy really liked, and he was just like, let's just listen to this freestyle for a second. And then he listened to it and he was like, let's make a verse out of this. And then he put it in the song and he was like, okay, verse is done. And I was like, what do you mean? You don't want to rewrite the lyrics? And he goes, yeah, no, we don't need to rewrite these lyrics. These are fine. Wow. And so it was cool because we were working together the way that we work, which is just like, let's write for an emotion and let's write over like a little bit of music and get like a cool lyrical idea and build from there. But we had another person involved who had their kind of own opinion about what was good and what wasn't good. And I really love his taste. Like he just had a great taste about what parts to choose and how to move from one part to the next. So it's going to be a little different because of that.
What do you envision as the future for Postcard? Is it a Disco Biscuits song?
I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know how to make it work in the Biscuits. Yeah, I don't know. It's a great question. I'm really happy that the fans like it because that does give an option for us to turn it into a Disco Biscuits song. You know, obviously if we want to play it at Red Rocks or something, like it's probably got to be a Disco Biscuits song. So there is a world where the Disco Biscuits could pull it off. I think it would have to have a certain, I I mean, look, we pulled off Hot Air Balloon. Like, Hot Air Balloon was in the same boat when I started Hot Air Balloon. It was like, I got this little acoustic thing. You heard me play it on the podcast last week. It's like that. There was no there's no intro. There was no flight. There was no, solo section, big chorus at the end. None of those things. So at one point, you end up with this song. Hot Air Balloon at the time it was a Bob Dylan song that I turned into like, long winding, like Terrapin Station-y type of song. Yeah. And that's cool. And that really was, at that time, the move. I really feel good about that. I don't know what the move is now. I'm interested to see where we get when we figure it out. I'm interested to see what kind of vehicle is Postcard when it becomes a full-on Disco Biscuit song and people are like, oh, I love it,
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that you guys are exploring different expressions, different configurations of the band, different outlets, and working with yet another new partner.
Yeah.
It just unlocks a new set of creative possibilities. I feel like Postcard to me sounds like one of the most pure pop confections that the three of you have written. Like, I could hear that I said that about Firewall Exchange too, but I really feel like I can hear that song, whether it's by you guys or you guys having another performer sing that song. Mm-hmm. Like, I can hear that song being a pop song.
I mean, people say that all the time nowadays about Biscuit stuff. People said that about Twisted. People said that about, Tourists. People say that about By the Time, Firewall Exchange. Country Royale gets that all the time.
Yeah.
Postcard is just another example of that. So I think that, I mean, look, when we were younger, we had every song had to be this odyssey that was like Frank Zappa and Fish and the Dead had a baby, and we might end Above the Waves. Like, look at these songs. And nowadays we just don't work like that at the moment. I'm not saying we won't get back there ever again. We probably will, frankly. I mean, there's a lot of musical moments lying around that are just dying to be inserted into a greater song, like Anthem, Heroes, like Station. There's a lot of stuff that's available to make an epic winding song with. And there's a lot of epic winding stories. So there's stuff. I mean, To Be Continued is epic and winding. There's stuff. But I don't know. I think that we have, when it comes time to like do an acoustic show, you're going to play songs that like Postcard, and Postcard isn't ready for the Biscuits yet. We'll see what happens when it ends up on the Biscuits. It may get fast tracked now that we know that the fans are like, oh, we like that one. Like that's a big indicator that things can move quickly, is when the fans are like, yeah, we want to hear that. I mean, some guy was like, I cried and now my girlfriend likes the Disco Biscuits. I was like, all right, well, that's a win. That's a win.
When you get the girlfriends to like the Disco Biscuits, you're on the right track.
I know. It's pretty amazing. But like, we're not really going for that. I'm just writing music. We're just writing music in different configurations with different people in different ways. Just because like that's kind of our job. Like, I got to come up with 10, 20 of these songs every single year. I got to come up with 20 more next year, like Postcard is Postcard. We'll put it out. We'll make it cool. And then we move on to the next one. It's just like, that's what it is. I mean,
you don't have to, John. You could just be a nostalgia band. You could just keep playing the songs you wrote when you were in your 20s, and, cash those checks, phone it in. You don't have to do new things every year.
Can't do that. I don't have any memory anymore. I can't remember anything. So I can't remember how to play any of those songs or what the lyrics are. I don't even know where I am right now, like it's so hard for me. I mean, look, Jerry had a teleprompter, right? Like you gotta have, it's hard to remember all this stuff, and it's hard to keep that stuff sharp. I don't know. Nostalgia Band isn't for us. It really isn't. We're just not those guys,
Yeah. Well, one last thing that I wanted to call out that made an appearance during those two acoustic shows, a song that I never thought you would dust off, Widow in the Rain.
white street light, walking like a widow in the rain. Every day's another day gone by. Captured dreams and capsule eyes, captures blowing brightly up in flames. So I take this chance to close my eyes. Walking down the avenue, a taxi in the road. I guess this must be time to hitch a ride. Can't forget the voices of the things that I've been told. Not to say in time I haven't tried.
Beautiful acoustic song. We've played it almost every acoustic show. Yeah, if we make an acoustic album, that's going on the album. And I think we should make an acoustic album. I don't know why we wouldn't. I mean, they gave me this incredible guitar. It sounds dope. Why wouldn't we make an album? Aron loves playing grand piano.
Yeah.
The one stipulation I have with the Biscuits going into the studio is no grand pianos. That's like a rule.
Why?
Well, because there's no grand piano on stage with the Biscuits.
Yeah.
And with the Biscuits, the album has to be the stage show in a very refined way. Like you can't make a Billy Breathes for the Biscuits. Like it just, I think we tried it. It didn't work. You know, it doesn't work. You can't go in some left field direction and then come back and be like, that was our album, la, la, la. Like people don't want that. What people want is a really great, you know, when we've done it successfully, Otherwise Law Abiding Citizens is that, Revolution in Motion is that. You can even make the argument that Uncivilized Area is that. So when we go into the studio, we go in with our live setup. I don't get some fancy Fender amp. Aron doesn't get a grand piano. Alan doesn't get a gong or whatever he would get. Like Mark doesn't pull out an upright bass. Like that's not how the Biscuits in the studio works. But this acoustic act, we have a little bit more freedom. We could go into the studio and literally remake every single Disco Biscuit album with an acoustic take. And I think it would be great. I would love to listen to that stuff. So I'm a big fan of doing Widow in the Rain, Ida Fifth, maybe Postcard, you know, I really like Better and Doses acoustic. Like some of these songs really stick in the acoustic format.
And with Mark doing all of his composing on the ukulele these days, he's putting out new songs that lend themselves to these sorts of arrangements. Plus, you know, like A News from Nowhere, some of Mark's older songs, I think, too, would really flourish in an acoustic setting.
I was tempted to do Siren Song. I really was. We just didn't have enough. We had to really make an acoustic arrangement for every single one of those songs because we really didn't have those yet. So we really didn't have too much. We didn't even get to Ida Fifth. You know, we were going to get to Ida Fifth too. So we're going to play more acoustic shows and we'll get to some of these other songs. And then, you know, I like this format. It's pretty great.
I do too. I'm really glad that you guys are doing it. And I had so much fun going way deep into the archives, pulling out all of those crazy moments. If you guys haven't listened yet to Touchdowns All Day, episode 81, the acoustic Thanksgiving special, go back. You'll hear cool stuff that John probably didn't want us to hear, but I wanted to hear. And it was really great to hear all of those songs that maybe only got played a few times, haven't been played in years, or just fresh takes on some of your favorite Biscuits classics, like that acoustic Minions, for example. Just so beautiful.
Well, that song was originally an acoustic song, so that song jumps back to acoustic very easily. The old Val aired on vocals version of that song is I still heard it the other day. I was like, she sounds great on it. It's a very cool song like that. So maybe we'll experiment with stuff like that. That's why we did Minions as acoustic song. Like a lot of times I'll play songs that I wrote on acoustic just because if we're going to do an acoustic show, that feels right to me. You know, maybe we'll do Music for My Soul sometime at acoustic show or something like that.
Well, if you do the acoustic album, promise me one thing. Mm-hmm. You will track down, no matter how long it takes, you will get a private eye. You will find Why Not the Clown, and you will throw Alan out of the band for that one day that you're in the recording studio. You will have Why Not accompany you on djembe.
You got it, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course, we will do.
John, do you want to listen to some jams?
Yeah, let's hit some stuff.
All right, man. Well, I got a bunch here, and I'm going to start with what's my favorite. And this is, so if we listen to more than one, who knows if we'll have time, but it won't be in chronological order because I'm going to start out with one of the more recent ones. And this is from the Rome, New York show. John, Rome, New York was a kind of left field venue, a left field location. I guess it's up in that kind of Syracuse area. I don't know. What's Rome, New York? What brought you guys to Rome, New York on November 22nd?
Well, they have a theater there. They're trying to get off the ground. And I think that our booking and management team is aware of like those kind of like small businesses that are trying to get their new locations off the ground. I think this tour, we played a bunch of rooms that are in that category.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we play Syracuse and we play up there all sorts of different rooms. So the question is, hey, where else can we play there? Do we have to go back to Syracuse every single time? And honestly, that Rome room is huge, and it's just built to be a theater. It's got a huge balcony. It's this huge, it's kind of like the Palace in Albany, but maybe a little smaller, but still very big. And it's designed to be, it's like the Cap Theater or something like that. And it's designed to sound really good. And our type of music sounds great in those venues. So I think that place has legs. It was like a Thursday night show. And so sometimes Thursday night shows when we're like really warm are like they tend to be the best shows of the weekend because we're so focused at that time. And we're so like, we're not spent or tired. We're just like focused on doing the right thing all night long. And that kind of is what happened at that show.
Well, people loved the show, loved the venue, and in particular, loved the Firewheel Exchange Shemra Boo that opened the second set. So the last time you were on, we talked about that style of jamming that you and Magner came up with that you didn't tell the rest of the guys about, but that you were describing as being a little less active, being a little more restrained. Do you feel like that carried over through the next few weeks of tour after we spoke?
I think the band, Penn's Peak, we got it. Here we seem to be doing it really well. I think it makes the music a little bit more listenable and a little bit easier to dance to. Because like when you're dancing to something, you really only need one thing that you were dancing to plus a little bit of a kick drum. You know, you don't really need like a million things to dance to. And so yeah, we seem to be on that a little bit here. That's like the new vibey sound that I'm trying to like, you know, encourage as much as possible. And yeah, I feel like we're on that right now a little bit. I mean, it's still loose. There's still no rules. It still could go anywhere at any point in time.
Like you have to just let Magner play Take Me Home by Phil Collins some point to get it out of his system. Just let him play a full version.
Man, I love Phil Collins. I'll do that any day.
Likewise.
If you don't remember, that stuff is so good.
Right?
He's got a lot of smash hits, that guy. It's crazy.
I mean,
I once was in a studio with like a hip hop producer, like a straight hip hop producer, a guy's done songs with like Megan Thee Stallion and stuff like that, right? So he's like, you know, he's a real hip hop guy, and he was like, I'm getting Phil Collins vibes from you, dude.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, that's what I was like. I was like, all right, so we're gonna make some slower pop stuff, or what are we gonna do?
If a hip hop guy tells you giving him Phil Collins vibes or Michael McDonald vibes or Hall & Oates vibes, you know he likes you.
I know, right?
Those are the three white pop acts that are universally beloved by hip hop producers.
Right. I mean, Phil Collins, like those
drums.
So many epic moments. I mean, look. There's the studio too, you know. We can ignore a song.
Yeah.
You can't all be tonight. You know what I mean? So this is kind of like a techno jam. The techno version of a biscuit jam. I wonder if it's going to turn into just a straight up jam. Out of the techno into the jam, right?
I feel like this segment has another spin vibes running through it.
Very similar changes, yeah, totally. The clap, yeah. That was a very euphoric moment in the crowd.
Yeah.
A lot of spinning, hands in the air, euphoric faces. That was just when you listen back to it, you're like, this is a really nice jam moment. But when you're in the room getting hit with all that sonics.
There you go.
Yeah. Like I think that was a great moment for the people who were there because they were taken into this dream world. That came out of nowhere. There was no preparation there. So we just entered into this dream world. And then the next thing you know, bang, wake up, Shemra Boo. Haven't heard that. Some people haven't heard this song in years. So
yeah,
interesting combo there. I like it.
Did some nice laps here. You pulled back. Okay, are you going to do I-Man instead?
I know. I like the lean of this jam, though. I like the lean of this funk. Nice little like 70s string thing up top. Good little octave funk going and like locked up with the bass. I like it.
Magner with those disco strings. I love that. He's been doing that to great effect this year.
Yeah, disco strings are great. I mean, this could be a little song right here. It could be its own little thing. Bring in a little vocal sample and breakdown, pickup type of thing.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 bum, 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 bum. I like it. In a way, this reminds me of that great Voices Insane from Pine Creek 2023, where you guys signaled the song very early in the jam and then backed way off of it and took it out for laps. Like where you show your hand. We're playing Shemra, but we're going to go back and
totally make you think we're not playing Shemra, even though you know we're playing Shemra.
Yeah, I don't understand why we do that. We do that all the time. I mean, in this case, Mark's just not playing the bass line. You know what I mean? He's just like, I'm not going to play the bass line. So it's usually just one person in the band is just like taking it out, and everybody else is kind of ready to go. And one person is like, nah, we're not going. And then it'll create like kind of a tension that I think we resolve really well in a jam setting. So it creates great jams almost unanimously. And I think everybody knows that. So they like kind of look for these situations.
There was just a to be continued tease.
A little ladies jam.
Little ladies.
And sometimes, by the way, it's I might actually think we're playing ladies here.
Yeah.
That is also very often what's going on. Like we may hit the beginning of Shemra, and then everybody's like, wait, are we playing aren't we supposed to play ladies here? And sometimes you're on stage and you don't want to be like walking around looking at like set lists on stage and stuff. You don't want people to see that you don't know what song it is. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So like the best reactor ever, I thought we were going to Crickets the whole time, you know?
Oh, well.
Because the Crickets harmonies over the reactor harmonies make for an incredible jam. We figured that out that night.
Yes. Well, John, I know that time is tight. I'm going to play you one more segment because this is one of the nastiest moments of 2024. And this came from Norwalk, Connecticut, a kind of weird town for the Biscuits to play, but you guys destroyed Norwalk, Connecticut. Connecticut has been getting great shows this year. This is from the Confrontation. Came out hot from House Dog, a House Dog that many people are very, very enthusiastically calling one of the best of the year. And then into the techno confrontation, the jam just gets nasty. And No Recollection is the next song, but Magner's already cueing the No Recollection. There's a lot of time between now and the No Recollection, but a little bit of a premonition.
Yeah, this could be a song too. This is a great little chord progression we're in right now.
You're doing some really great rhythm playing here. Crunchy.
Sick risers.
Yeah. Okay, John,
nice.
Brace yourself. Brace yourself. So Mark switches over to the Moog, and this gets so nasty.
Kind of played like the EDM sound, you know. He like called the EDM jam with that sound, which came out of nowhere. I've never heard him play something so like Miami techno, you know, like space or something like that, you know.
Yeah,
he like went there. He went to like Big Room Tomorrowland techno,
and Brownstein went right with him.
Yeah, me too. What show is this?
This is Norwalk.
Which is it?
Norwalk District Music Hall on November 14th.
Oh, this is Norwalk. So this is the day after the studio.
You did Bearsville first.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So you went studio to Woodstock, then down to Connecticut. And this is the set that went House Dog, Confrontation, No Recollection, Photograph, Confrontation.
this is cool.
Yeah, this one confrontation I feel like is a gold mine for you and Joey to dig into.
I mean, this could be a techno song right here for sure. This could be a tractor beam release. That's cool. I think this needs like a vocal sample, you know? This needs like a little something. Not like a full song, but just like a word or two.
Yeah.
Could be a very cool addition to this type of jam.
So, John, as this jam winds down and you are about to head out on vacation, and pretty much all you've got left for the rest of the year are those 4 holiday run shows.
Yeah.
Are you taking this time off? You don't take time off, really. Normally, when you're supposed to be taking time off, you like go write a new musical or remix the Revolution in Motion record release party for a live album, or do a remix. You actually gonna log off and just spend some time resting and recuperating?
Well, this week I'm just chilling, but next week I'll be right back in the studio cutting vocals over the new album, kind of doing stuff like that, working on my stage setup, trying to write some new songs. I'm right back at it next week.
Amazing. Well,
no time off.
When you love what you do.
Yeah, there's no point in taking any time off. What else am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Just play video games all day? I do that anyways.
All right, John. Well, I'm going to leave it there. And everybody make sure to check out the Touchdowns All Day socials, TDAD Baby on X, at Touchdowns All Day on Instagram. Find the links where you can vote for Show of the Year, Jam of the Year, and Song of the Year 2024. Let your voice be heard. And as we all know what happened last year, the jams, the shows, the songs you pick end up having a big influence over the next year. And so with the Warfield, the Bubble Tour, all those exciting things coming up, we've got lots of exciting music to look forward to, everybody. So on behalf of John Gutwillig and the entire Touchdowns All Day family, it's Max Dawson saying, see you next time, guys.
See you, everybody.
We're mass communicating. We're mass communicating. We're mass communicating.
Osiris.